Welcome to Bucks on the Bookshelf with your host, Steve the Bookman Eisenstein. Steve the Bookman Eisenstein has been involved in buying, selling, and appraisals of rare books since 1968. This show has been designed with making money for the listeners in mind. More people know the value of coins, stamps, objects of art, and collectibles they do not own than the values of the books in their home library shelves. Now, here's Steve the Bookman Eisenstein.
Good morning, my fellow Rare Bookians, and welcome to a two-guest show today on Books on the Bookshelf. You are listening to us live on the WDBF radio networks. I'm your host, Steve the Bookman Eisenstein, and if you have questions, we have answers. You might even tell some fortunes today. All you got to do is call. The number's not Beechwood 45789, but take something out to copy down our call-in number, 888-575-4394. That's 888-575-4394. As I said in our Facebook promo for today's show, too many of us in the group, related to the group, are on the injured list. Guys, cut it out. And I'm serious about that. There's got to be half a dozen of us, two of us right now, right here, right now. So get well soon, heal fast, and, our prayers and thoughts are with you. Today's show, I'm going to call nothing but special. It's the second episode of Book Talk with Steve and Max later in the program. And today, it's going to be a menage de trois, okay? We're going to be joined by a dear friend, a phenomenal lady with an amazing career rise in the estate sale business at 10:20, or maybe even a little sooner because she's in with us right now. I wrote the monologue before we were adjusted. We're going to be joined not by just a longtime friend, but one of the sharpest of the sharp in the estate sale business. Fran Miller of BaronEstateSales.com is going to join us. She's in the studio right now, so to speak, on camera, but I'm doing my monologue. So, as an observer, not just the history of Miami Beach, which we're going to talk about later. I got some really fun stuff to show you all later. But the people that I've worked with in the field, I've watched in awe, really, in the 1990s, Fran, as you grew and grew and grew to the number one spot in the estate sale business in this area. The timing was extraordinary. Everybody, it was the right time and the right place. Number one back then, number two back then were moving out and retiring. But if you didn't have the skills to do that, it would not matter. Fran's skills in the business and in life made it work. Luck without skill doesn't cut it. And kudos to you on what you've done. We're going to be talking about the estate sale business, and Fran is just a barrel of information. So we will go into all kinds of subjects. And the three of us at 11 o'clock will get together and go from there. A little highlight for those of you who are new, two sales that we worked on in the past. And, like we say, what are we doing for your company today? But, Fran, you're going to find something, and I'll discover what it is, so to speak. But it was about 4 or 5 years ago. We did this medical library. I get a call from Fran. If you get calls from people, in the business, 4,000 books. But it was 4,000 books, and they were all vintage medical. And the rest is history, and it was a really good deal. But I got to say, of all the things that I've worked on in the 58 years that I've been in this business, one of the ones that I'm really awed by because of the volume and what it was is if you look at the book, The Pictorial History of Boxing, Nat Fleischer and a photographer who was an Ansel Adams of sports photographers at the time, Sam Andre, photo credit note to Sam. He was the only photographer that wasn't so awestruck the first time that Bob Feller pitched a no-hitter that he was actually taking sequential photos of that. So the Pictorial History of Boxing with that and Jack Johnson's Letter of Confession has to be one of my favorite fun things. But if I had to say what's the most interesting thing I've been able to lay my hands on, even though it didn't sell, a 1934 Nobel Prize for Medicine and all the accoutrements that come with a Nobel Prize. It was just an amazing feeling. It was in one of the most amazing estate sales ever, and kudos to you on that one. So we're going to just say on that more with Fran, she's in with the studio right now. Anytime you want to come in, Fran, come in.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
Go for it. Go for it.
So complimentary. And who do I call when I don't know the first thing about the value of books and I'm sitting in a library with over 10,000 books? I have to call you because I haven't a clue. And there you found the books worth over $60,000, $50,000, which you
Yeah.
sold. And I was shocked. I would have never have known. Never. I know what I know. And, the old saying, I know what I don't know. And
Yeah, and I'm going to pat myself on the back on that one, okay? I'm not greedy. I mean, people have told me I'm honest to a fault. Something happened recently that I'm beginning to agree with them, but it'll never change me. Um, when other dealers came to that sale, there was still plenty to buy. So, well, you've heard me say for years on the show to the audience, be fair, be honest. If you want to get in, to people that do previews, you've got to make it worth their while too. You've got to be honest. You got to be fair. And my wife hates when I use this expression, license to steal. It's really not. But if you're knowledgeable, and you're not invited to a sale. Invite me somewhere, my ethics must be on the table. Go to a garage sale somewhere and, I find, God willing, a great Gatsby or something. I don't have to tell you that. Chances are I'll go back and give you something afterwards. But, if you're going to do this kind of thing, and I've told you how to do it many times, don't play games. The ethics must come with it. Go ahead, Fran. I'm going to bounce. You pick up from me. I can go.
okay. I just want to say that many times in my business, as you've just mentioned, no good deed goes unpunished. I have found loose diamonds on Miami Beach twice. And one was a 3-carat diamond, and another was probably just as big. And, I went to the owner knowing that they did not have any intention of selling any diamonds. And sure enough, she held up her hand and showed me the ring where she had lost her diamond. So, like you say about being honest, I can sleep every single night, a good 8 hours, by the way.
I wish.
Yeah, but I do sleep every night because I know that I am honest, and it makes me feel good to know I can do something good for people. There's people that don't appreciate what I do because they've got way too much money. But in this city, as my friend always says, there's wretched excess, and I'm sure you see it as well.
Yeah, I made up a saying about Miami Beach a long time ago. Some days it's Miami Beach, some days it's Miami Beach, but no matter which way you say it, the stars are brighter and the shit is deeper than anywhere I have ever lived. And just because I hate condominiums, I'm going to tell everybody if you ever wind up with a condominium full of books, keep the books and sell the condos. Another Miami joke.
Condos, funny you mentioned that right now. Condominiums seem to be pretty hot for me right now. And everybody says, how do you do a sale in a condominium? Because you can't open to the public. You can't put the address down because you can only imagine a ballet. I can have 300 people show up on a weekend for a sale.
Mm-hmm.
That would really cause a problem. I do it by appointment only, so I book so many per hour. But I have found amazing stuff in condominiums, old books, and a lot of stuff from people who have actually downsized from their 10,000 square foot homes. But Miami Beach is very interesting for my sales. I will tell you that I'm about to embark next week, on a $110 million home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything? I mean, yeah, there's. I did you do the Gibbs sale? Was that you? No, that might have been Sandy Steinberg way back. Barry Gibbs, one of the Gibbs family on Bay Drive. Did you do
Yeah,
one of those?
I
Was
did one of the Gibbs sales, and I think Sandy might have done one of the sales. There was more than one that I did.
yeah,
Yeah,
the one with the small piano? There was an artistic small piano or something. I remember rings.
yeah, yeah.
Well, what I noticed about that, I don't know if it was yours or hers, but you got this mansion, you got the Gibbs, you walk in, and unless you want to pay $100 for the Hunt Brothers toaster, it wasn't there. It was kind of like I felt, well, okay, where's all the good stuff?
And you were about to ask me, is there anything good in that $109 million home?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Everybody asked me that question. Believe it or not, having a much smaller home, I could do better in that house than in the 19,000 square foot home I'm about to embark on, because their dining room table holds 25 people. They have extensions that will hold 50 people.
I got a custom table like grandma's great dining room, modern, custom, new, old.
It's not old, but it's not vintage either. It's in between. It's magnificent wood. They're Orthodox Jewish people,
Mhm.
and that explains the large table. But um, the price they paid close to $100,000 for the table without the chairs.
And how much with the chairs? And what would you ask for that today?
I will tell you that today, if I could sell it for $5,000, I'm taking it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Reason being, it's a magnificent, magnificent conference table. It
I
would be amazing in a huge office.
as I think about my initial exposures to things in antiques, it was my friend Harvey who was my book mentor that went to upstate New York and, dug a garden in his uncle's thing and they found 80 large cents in a leather pouch. But I'll go back to when I was about 6 years old. This just came out, this thought when you mentioned dining room table. My grandmother had a grandmother had one of those. We could get 26 people with the chairs, with the wood, with the extension. But this was 1950s, and the thing was from the 20s or 30s. Mahogany. Today, it would be, what, $100,000 today. Then she had to pay the, whatever it was, a couple of $100 to have them haul it away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
tables.
That's
Yeah.
it. It's like I have such gorgeous furniture to donate. I have Baker. I have this is an issue for me. I have like Baker, the top companies, and unfortunately, I offered for free
Ooh.
at the end of a sale. I have offered it to charities upon charities. I have offered it to people that are moving, to poor people. Nobody wants it. And I said, they're putting up a building in Kendall where I live, which is going to be for special needs couples.
Hmm.
And it's all charitable donations. And I said, if you would pay for a warehouse for me, I will fill it with furniture for all the apartments that are going to be in there for free. And
Yeah.
no,
And
no. Oh, great idea, great idea. Nobody wants it.
oh, okay. I chat life has changed. There's changes, more. I think I'm seeing more people saying minimalism these days that are younger than thing. And I'm not talking about what was it, that crazy can-do lady. You can only have 10 books in your house or whatever it was. But they're downsizing and freeing charities, okay? You know this, I know this. A lot of people are not aware of this because they don't work with them, in hand and glove, so to speak. When you give something to a Goodwill, it still costs them money to get it to the sale point, so it's not free. I have had several refusals of donations because to libraries because they wouldn't give a stipend to carry on the maintenance and the cataloging of the collection. They're getting real finicky out there.
Yeah, they're very finicky. Goodwill, Salvation Army, all the biggies. They won't pick up unless they know exactly what you have and they decide they want it. So there's a glut. But then again, I've offered to fill up boxcars to go overseas. How about offering to go to hurricane areas in Florida, going to California, going to all the states, New Orleans, where I say, I will send you. You've lost your homes.
Yeah.
You've lost everything. Let me send you pre-furniture. Don't want it.
If you said free furniture and we pay the shipping, which isn't happening unless you can get somebody, fundage for the shipping end of it, it's kind of tough. I mean, it's kind of a rock and a hard place. You want to do good, this stuff is there. But they don't have the wherewithal to get it. It's frustrating. I know the feeling. I mean, I see the last house we did was this one. I'm going to show you some stuff that's incredible from this estate. But I got to ask you, well, it was the same thing. What was it? Not the veterans, I think it was. You would know if I'm wrong on this better than I if I'm saying it the wrong way. The veterans could not go into the house. Everything had to be boxed outside.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do that, that was it. What was left in this house because of that stupid rule, excuse my French, cost that charity a lot of stuff. I mean, what they left in that, the house was going to be torn down. I spent 3 months in that house pulling stuff out. I had to rent a second warehouse. But the charities, I mean, I saw what they did. They were really finicky. So this big house, what else is in it besides this monstrous table?
There's absolutely gorgeous furniture, but it's big.
And no accoutrements. I mean, tchotchke walls, something like that.
Tchotchkes don't exist in this house. There was, I have the whole 25-foot table filled with Judaica, filled with dishes and glasses and crystal, some silver. I tried to get the rest of the sterling, but her daughter decided she needed to have it.
No documents, no old, I mean, I'm sure the answer to that is no, yeah.
But no. None of that stuff, no good artwork, which is, my thing is the good artwork, because I love to sell good artwork. And this house is not selling it. I mean, the woman owns several homes, so she's using some of this furniture to furnish. And they're tearing down the house.
Yeah, this house on Flamingo, too.
They're 2 acres. It's magnificent. All the walls were imported from Italy, the wood. Wow. It's absolutely gorgeous. But they're tearing it down because it's on 2 acres, and I'm sure they could get zoning to put 2 homes up there. And the builders will make...
Water? Waterfront or inland?
Oh, it's water.
Canal? Bay?
No, the bay.
Yeah, it has to be. At $100 million, it has to be the bay, yeah.
It's the bay.
Fran, I'm looking at the clock. I didn't click my second hand. We're at 10:19, so I'm going to just kind of lead us into a break. Stay on the line.
Okay.
When we come back, we're kind of freelancing, which we can continue to do. But if you've got something specific, and I know you do, open with it, and we'll go from there. I can lead, I can follow, I can get out of the way.
Should I just say that now?
Stay on. No, don't disconnect.
Okay.
Stay on. You're going to hear commercials.
Okay.
Remember, you're seeing me, but this is radio, so the audience doesn't know this until Monday when this gets downloaded to YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, so we're good. It's 10:20. We'll be back after these commercial words.
I wonder who wrote the book of law? Tell me, who wrote the book of
Welcome to Bucks on the Bookshelf with your host, Steve the Bookman Eisenstein. Steve the Bookman Eisenstein has been involved in buying, selling, and appraisals of rare books since 1968. This show has been designed with making money for the listeners in mind. More people know the value of coins, stamps, objects of art, and collectibles they do not own than the values of the books in their home library shelves. Now, here's Steve the Bookman Eisenstein.
Welcome back, book lovers. We are having a fun, entertaining, and we'll also get informative later, conversation with Fran Miller of Barron Estate Sales. Later in the program, we're going to be joined by Max Robeck on our new feature once a month on the second Saturday. We're going to do book talks with Steve and Max, but we're also going to bring in Fran on this one for a segment in that. We might just continue that I'm thinking about doing that with all guests. Fran, I said if you have something you want to start with, take it away. They said the wreath is yours, and I promise you I'm not going to be brute. I won't stab you in the back ever.
Oh, no, that's one before. Listen, I have a funny story to tell you about the estate sales, and welcome to Miami for those that don't live here. Most interesting city. It's a country unto its own. Anyways, I go to this house, very, very modest neighborhood. I see two dumpsters outside, and I said, I'm not going in there. And then I said to myself, oh, how appropriate. Don't judge a book by its cover. Pretty good, right, Steve? And then I go in, and there's trash everywhere, and I'm walking literally on top of papers and garbage. And I start to see through all this trash, some treasures. And I said, okay, now I'm really gonna look. Met the nicest man. He says, you know, my father was a doctor, he lived here, he was a very modest man, he passed away. We need to sell the stuff. And I said, you have so much trash in here, I don't know if there's enough for me to take the sale. Well, we keep walking and walking. I see stuff and I say, you know, I might take it. He says, come on upstairs. I go upstairs, there's a locked room. Let me tell you something, a locked door, right away, I have to get into it because I know there's something's good in there. He unlocks this door, and in this small bedroom, it is piled floor to ceiling all over the bed, the closets, with guns, rifles, weapons,
Oh, wow.
sorts, hundreds and hundreds. Up to and including sawed-off shotguns, guns without serial numbers, silencers, everything illegal to own anywhere.
Wow.
All right. So I said, do you want us to sell the guns? He said, absolutely. I said, until I have ATF, which is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms come in here, they're going to have to go through every gun and pull the ones that are illegal, and then I'll sell the rest. Why does your father, who was such a nice, modest doctor who passed away, why does he have a whole house locked up with guns in it? Because Willie Falcone, one of the biggest cocaine dealers, smugglers that there ever were in Miami, lived next door.
Wow. You know, Fran, I know you know this better than I do, but you also have a law enforcement background, so you know. You had more than one large firearm collection.
I did. We get them all the time. And what I do is each firearm that we sell, well, that collection went to a gun shop. Each piece gets a form filled out by we have government forms. So we fill out the forms, and it has to be signed off by the owner and the owner. And we keep a copy of all that and give a copy to the owner. It's never being challenged in 25 years.
You don't have an FFL, though?
No.
Okay, no. Okay, yeah, I do the same thing. It's funny. The estate that I'm working on now with some of the stuff I'm going to show you later. There's 2 suitcases of pistolas and things that I'm not going to show you. And I just bought the most beautiful M1 carbine that I have had ever with the paratrooper stock. I was very happy with it, and a couple of other things. But what what I'm gonna do this. I told them I will take the guns. One day we'll go to a gun show together. I'll clean everything up. I'll take a booth because all the stuff in the house could fit in the gun show too. We're not going to sell to the public. You know, I know
Right.
Khalib and all the other guys running the gun shows and all. I haven't been there in years, but I'm told I'm a hard act to forget. So
It's true.
we'll go. Yeah, thanks. We'll go in there. Everything. I'll tell you right now, if you have anybody that's local, I'll work with you on this, and it will be really fine. There's everything in there, from an 1859 Sharps rifle, and the guy's going to tell you if you know somebody like Sharps. They're going to say, "Oh, do you know the serial number? Do you know the serial number?" I say, "Yes, I do. It's not one of the Burden serial numbers, and he'll know exactly what that means." There was a range of, well, to explain it to the audience, there was a range of serial numbers that were specifically assigned to the Burden troopers, and they had not the brass hardware. They had the metal hardware. The difference is that this thing should go for 27 to 35. If it was a Burden, you could add a zero to it. But if you have somebody, I'm trying to think, there's one or two that are actually collectible. They're not 1898, but there's one or two that are collectible. And I got, okay, callers, our telephone number. I have never asked anybody a firearms collection question in my life. I usually answer them myself. Have you ever heard of a 32 automatic rim fire?
No.
I got the ammo and I got the gun, and it's a Colt, and I can't find it. I mean,
You get to meet with me after your show,
yeah, yeah.
and I will be able to sell those
We'll
guns,
talk.
and
We'll
we will talk. We will talk.
About 20. Well, actually, it's about 15. I won 5. And I have Edie's
So,
permission. Go ahead.
okay, so I've had a lot of really interesting things, but I want to just tell you a quick story about how I really started in this business. Was eBay had started.
Yes, you know, usually when I introduce, you've been on, we know each other. I take it for granted that everybody knows. The audience would, I always say, what got you started? So, yeah, Fran, talk.
Two things got me started. Number one, hunger. But basically, eBay started. I was working with the police. A guy came in who was a cop with a different jurisdiction. And he says, "Have you ever gone to an auction, bought stuff, and put it on eBay?" And I said, I wasn't familiar with what eBay was. Anyways, I started driving from Miami to West Palm Beach and buying things for $1 and $5 and bringing cases of stuff home, selling it for twice what I paid for it, and thought I was a millionaire. Okay. Then I started doing garage sales. The garage sales led to people coming up to me and said, "You've got to start doing estate sales."
Hmm.
And my first estate sale was for the vice president of Sony Records in South America. And I will tell you, Steve, I knew nothing. I knew nothing. I knew my mother had water for glasses, and I knew this and I knew that. Otherwise, I knew nothing. I went in the house. I was like starstruck. I was, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So that's how I started. If I made $200 on a weekend profit, I thought I was just making a fortune. But the one thing that put me on the map in Miami was somebody who had the top sales in Miami. We had both gone to Pinecrest, which is a very affluent neighborhood, to
Hmm.
interview. I had never done a sale in Pinecrest and said I'd be a made woman if I could ever do a sale in
Yeah,
Pinecrest.
yeah, yeah.
I
That was the
think
new
that was it.
That's the
Turned
new
out,
Pine Tree Drive back then. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
so I went to Pinecrest. She had interviewed, I interviewed. Well, she found out I had interviewed. I was such a newbie. She went ahead and called the owners of that house and left a voicemail saying, "Why would you hire somebody with no experience? She doesn't know what she's doing. She's this, she's that," and it was all negative. It backfired.
Yeah, yeah.
They hired me. And from then on, I have built up the largest company in Miami through word of mouth with over 11,000 clients. And I did it through word of mouth, through my reputation, because I have a good reputation and I'm proud of it. And I treat people great and we laugh. My employees have been with me for 20 years. They never leave. And that's how I built, that's what made me stay in the estate sale business, was this one bad review.
Now, okay, one person, I mean, it's not a mystery to me, but it's like, how did Lenny come about to you and other people? Because he worked with you extremely tightly for a long time. I believe, if I remember right, he was even around with Sandy.
Okay, Lenny is...
Is he still alive?
Yes.
Okay, amen. Okay.
He is beyond any kind of genius that I've ever met. So Lenny started coming to some of my sales. He had opened up a store in Midtown called Junk, I remember. And to be a good guy, and I couldn't afford it, I sent him flowers. And I said, good luck with your new store. Okay. Some time had passed. We kind of stayed in touch a little, then out of touch. Then we became friends. And Lenny is now one of my very, very dearest. I consider Lenny, Leo, to be family. This is a man who is a self-made, whatever you want to call him, millionaire, whatever, by being knowledgeable, by reading and learning and remembering. He remembers sales I did 10 years ago in the living room. Oh, they had a red tablecloth, don't you remember? I don't remember last week's sales.
It's this, hearing this from you and knowing myself, people, what they, it's luck and timing, but knowledge. I too feel the same way about Lenny. Lenny was knowledgeable beyond anyone I had ever seen. And I kind of wonder, how did, like, what did he get started with? I've been a purist, even my mentors in New York say, Steve, we should have dealt in art. We should have dealt in baseball cards. We should have dealt in anything but books, but the books taught me, to be a generalist and all that. But what was there something that put him over the hill with the art? Did he have some kind of phenomenal, I made so much money on this deal, I can't hurt myself for a long time and didn't? How did he grow like that?
Because he started putting things online. He started going to the thrift shops, and due to a lack of information, knowledge, and absorbing everything he read the first time around, perfect example, he bought from a lady in Miami who decided to start her own company, as 20 new ones a month do. He found a table out back of the house, a wood table, a plain wood table. He said, I'll give you $500 for it. She says, I don't care what you give me for it. I want to get rid of it, get rid of it. So she said, fine, give me 500. I'm happy with that. So she took 500. He sold it at auction for $70,000, and he was offered 80, and he turned it down. But he got his 70, and it was signed by Stickley.
Oh, okay, yeah,
right.
Good stuff. Yeah.
And that's where you have to know your stuff and do diligence to your clients when you go ahead and do an estate sale. And I said, if that woman ever would have known that table was worth that much money, if it was with my luck, they would have said, Fran, you owe me the additional $60,000.
Okay, let's get into an interesting topic here. I've talked about this on occasion on the show. It's kind of controversial. And this example is a perfect way to illustrate it. Let me tell you the story first. People with gemological experience, I'm just looking at the time. We're going to have to hold this. Yeah, I got it, Steve. Thanks, Captain Hook. We got about 20 seconds left in this break. When I come back, we'll talk about a canary yellow diamond and a few other things, okay? We'll be back after these commercial.
Who wrote the book out loud? Tell me, who wrote the book of love?
Welcome to Bucks on the Bookshelf with your host, Steve the Bookman Eisenstein. Steve the Bookman Eisenstein has been involved in buying, selling, and appraisals of rare books since 1968. This show has been designed with making money for the listeners in mind. More people know the value of coins, stamps, objects of art, and collectibles they do not own than the values of the books in their home library shelves. Now, here's Steve the
that's
Bookman
what it's selling for
Eisenstein.
retail.
Welcome back, my fellow rare bookians. Fran, take care of your customer. If he wants to be famous, put him on the camera.
Would you
do
like
you-
to be famous and come and have a little chat as a client? No, I'm talking to Steve Eisenstein. Would you like to come and have a few words online?
Yeah, you're going to be recorded for posterity.
It's going to be recorded. Come on.
Don't be shy.
Oh, she's shy. She's not shy.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Getting ready to demonstrate this afternoon.
Uh-huh. To what?
No.
Okay, yeah, I heard that. Okay. Do you, are you is this your first time in Fran's store?
I'm sorry.
Is it your first time in my store?
It is the first time.
And is it not gorgeous? I haven't been there yet, but I see pictures in the background. It looks like there's nowhere for the eye to rest.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
If it was
Thank
Fran's, it
you.
can only be beautiful. Enjoy your day.
I will indeed.
And this
Who
is
are you,
Buck.
Steve?
In actuality, I'm still trying to figure that out. But my name is Steve, the Bookman Eisenstein. You are on a radio program right now that is literally broadcast all over the world called Bucks on the Bookshelf. It's on WDBFradio.com. And I am telling you, when over the weekend, your image is gonna be seen in Russia, Australia, France, Germany, England, because on Monday, I'm serious, I'm not making this stuff up. We now are recording the radio studio sessions, and we are downloading, what do I know, to YouTube. So if you go to WDBF Radio YouTube channel, you will get to see yourself.
I will look for it.
Okay, and one other thing, play the lottery. I feel lucky today. Maybe it'll rub off on you.
I'm feeling lucky.
And there's the mid-century stuff right beside you.
Thank you.
So we're mid-century.
Fran, are you busy? I'm asking. Are you
No.
okay? Okay.
No, we are mid-century.
You're okay.
Mid-century. Yes, we are mid-century. So
Canary, go ahead. You talk.
the canary diamond.
right.
Oh, Steve, I would like somebody to give me a 5-carat canary diamond.
Well, okay, here's the story. Now, remember, we were talking about valuations and things like that. So this is the scenario, and this comes out of either the Antique Trader or Covell's, one of the two. Okay, these two people are known gemologists. Okay, they have experience in gemology, and they're at a sale. Are you okay? I know. Hold on, Edie's moving around, so okay, but it's distracting me. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I know. Wait a minute. Okay, let's start from the beginning. They're at this sale. They are gemologists. There's a stone on the table that the people claim to be something, whatever it is, but they didn't claim it to be a canary yellow diamond. So the guy saw the price and he bought it knowing it was a canary yellow diamond. In that particular state, there seems to be something on the books that guy created a liability for himself by not telling the person, even though it was random, the value of that stone. And there were attorneys on both sides of this. One said they could bring them to court, and the other said they couldn't. So, it's interesting the way things happen in this trade. Have you ever heard, is the point of the question, have you ever heard of anybody having ever been um, brought to trial, I guess, for using their knowledge? And I'm not talking about in a larcenous way, where they use their knowledge innocently but got called on it. I guess that's the proper way to phrase that question.
I don't know of anybody in Miami-Dade that.
Or anywhere.
No, I actually don't. I know when I sell jewelry, I guarantee that it's diamond, and I will use my diamond tester to show them. I guarantee it's 14 karat if it is 14 karat, and I usually show it to them. If there is a problem, which there has been, because somebody found it cheaper somewhere, so they say, but I know it wasn't true, I gave them their money back immediately to avoid a problem. But that's me. Others may have thought it's not worth the fight over thousands of dollars that are, Steve.
I got a question on diamond testing. If I find anything gold, silver, diamond, it's by accident. I don't go looking for it. Diamond testers. There was a point where it was diamonds, marcasite, whatever. Are the diamond testers accurate today? And in the same breath, and I'll illustrate it with an example. About 2 years ago, we did a story on some pawn shops in a small Georgia town that were scammed for 427 pennyweights of gold because it was so fake gold that it beat the testers.
Yes.
So I'm asking, are the testers accurate today?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yes, the testers that I use are accurate, but you brought up something very interesting. And before I tell you the interesting thing, which is another subject, if you have a diamond that's that big, you would want to have a GIA certification on it, number one. Okay. Number two, I would insist it go to a GIA gemologist. I have taken my gemology exams.
Oh, really?
Yes, I failed it
Nice.
3 times and then I passed. It was by far the hardest exam I ever took in my life.
Let me tell you something. I work with AIS, okay, Appraisers International Society.
Yeah.
When you look at a diamond appraisal as a novice, you think you're reading a theoretical
Yeah.
paper on rocket science.
Right. But I want to tell you the interesting thing. So I don't take chances on big things like that. I've had 10 karat and an 8 karat diamond at a house on the beach. I put them both on my hand so I wouldn't lose them, God forbid. And I didn't want to take them off when they sold. I did not want to take them off. I was so upset. Here's the new dilemma. The lab created diamonds are not showing up as being lab created with the diamond testers.
Wow. Okay, that's where I was leading to. Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, they're not showing up. So it's showing up as real diamond, yes. And I've done the testing myself on a lab created diamond compared to regular. And they've both showed up as, good luck protesting. And
Thank you.
they've both showed up as positive for diamond, but they said, how do I know it's not lab created? I said, the only thing I could tell you is I'm going to sell it as is to you. It's very inexpensive. And I could tell you it's vintage, which makes me think it's not lab created. And that is the best I can guarantee you. I can't guarantee you anything else, and I'm not going to put anything else in writing for you. And they were so happy with it because it was an expensive diamond. Everybody was happy, and they signed a form for me.
I don't know if I ever told you this story, but this goes back to, God, the 70s. Rappaport, before the magazine. Before the magazine, Rappaport was not liked, okay?
Go on.
Rappaport was not liked before the magazine. Why?
Okay.
because he wanted to advertise buying and selling prices of diamonds. And the trade said it's never been in our history. Guess who supplied the book to Rappaport that gave him, yeah, the evidence that he needed? Out
Yours
of the,
truly.
yeah, yeah, out of the blue, 1787 book on a treatise on diamonds and, a subtitle. In the back of the book, there was a one-page ad, prices that diamond dealers will buy and sell for. He bought the book from us. Actually, a friend of mine was a jeweler in New York. They used to go in once a week on Tuesday for the 21 appraisals, or that kind of deal. And he's heard about the book. He bought the book from us, and he used that book to say, "Yes, we have." And I don't know if you ever knew him, just because Uncle Marty Crone Jewelers ring a bell from way back online?
No.
Yeah, okay. Marty, when I had my first article published in some New York antique newspaper, they didn't mail me a copy. And if I have something printed, I want a copy of it. So they told me where I can go to a jewelry store in Freeport, Long Island, and that he would have a copy for me. I called him up, made sure he did. We became friends for life. But he helped me sell the book. Fran, I'm looking at the time. We got 56. Okay, we got 4 more minutes, no problem. And you're going to stay with us for another segment? You can? Or are you?
I can.
Okay, terrific. While we're here, let me show you something. You'll get a kick out of this. So will the audience when they see it, but I will paint beautiful pictures of my words with it. This box is all vintage postcards. Every one of them is pre-60 and Miami Beach only. When I sold my collection, when Edie and I sold our collection years ago to the University of Miami, the most thrilling thing to them in the collection was not the same thing that I had, but it was the postcards. But I'm looking at this. I used to live in a hotel that wasn't built yet. Okay,
Wow.
the Traymore, it was the Wofford, the Traymore, the Surfcomer, and the Promenade. I
Wow.
lived at the Promenade for a long time when I had my swimming pool concession there. There's the same scene on the beach. Oh, yeah, the reflection on the beach, 23rd, 24th, and Collins, Lake Pecos, but the Promenade Hotel wasn't there. Just amazing stuff. Okay, I'm gonna
Steve, I returned a whole collection of vintage postcards 2
from
days ago on the beach. I will
when?
put you in touch with the lady.
Oh, okay. I got this without buying them. If she wants to do something with, I got them on consignment. Yeah, go to the University of Miami. I don't think, they might, there are cards in here in this D series that I'm looking for that I know they didn't have. She could find a buyer for it. It's not me though. That I got to say on that. It's not me. I wouldn't have bought these. I mean, when when you're dealing in postcards, 5,000 postcards, you're paying 3-4 cents a piece for them, no matter what they are. And the dealer that sells those knows that, those are going to be R1, R2 rarity ratings. They're not going to be the, what's that? The Lanton cards and the famous Mucha, the Alphonse Mucha cards and things. But let me jump out of something because we're just kind of filling a little time here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this with the glare. You know the artist Arthur Szyk?
No.
Arthur Szyk is a very famous Judaic artist. He did anti-Nazi propaganda.
Wow.
He did a book, the Heritage Press books. Out of all the Heritage Press books, the one he did is their only limited edition, and it's called Ink and Blood, and it was the anti-Nazi cartoons that he created. That are just gorgeous. This is an example. This is a lithograph of his work with the stamps. Arthur Szyk.
Do you have more of those?
Well, okay, they didn't go yet. I was sending these to auction. Yes, I got no, Fran. Cash on the barrelhead locally is much better. We'll talk about that in the guns. I have 2, 4, 6 sheets of these. By the way, Norman Rockwell, same thing, signed. Okay, yeah. Okay,
I'll
okay.
tell you
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Somebody, I love it. Somebody wrote a
We got to
letter.
go to a commercial break. We'll be back. Sorry.
This is fun.